Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with All Things Barbecue, and today we're making pumpkin pie from scratch. It's finally feeling like fall here in Kansas, which means it's a perfect time to start thinking about Thanksgiving and the holidays to come, and pumpkin pie has always been one of my favorite desserts. So we're gonna get started on this recipe by roasting off our pumpkin. So we're starting off with our pumpkin pie pumpkin, or a sugar pumpkin, as it's sometimes called. We're gonna take this stem off and cut this thing in half. And we're just going to scoop out all these seeds and everything from the center. And then we're going to place these cut side down. We don't need any other preparation. No oil, no seasoning. We're just going to roast these right here on the second shelf at 425 degrees. And we'll be doing all of the cooking today inside of the Yoder Smokers YS640 pellet grill, running some pecan and cherry pellets. The next thing I want to tackle is our pie dough. We're going to start off with some pastry flour. That's about 28 ounces of pastry flour. Then I'm going to add to that 4.5 ounces of white sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt, and 18 ounces or 4.5 sticks of butter that I've cubed and frozen. All right, so we're going to get this on the stand mixer. We're using the paddle attachment. We're going to start this out slowly on low speed. Now what we're looking to do is break down that butter into small pea-sized chunks, and it's going to take several minutes to get there. All right, so now we've got this kind of shaggy consistency in here. Obviously we've got varying sizes of butter from little ones like that to slightly larger, but this is a really good spot to go ahead and add in our eggs. And I'm just going to drop these in one at a time and wait until it looks like it's incorporated before I add the next. All right, now all we need to bring this together is about 3 tablespoons of cold water. All right, we're going to stop this just as it starts to come together, and we'll finish up by hand. Now I'm not going to work this too much. What I really want to do is just kind of squish it into a shape so that it will hold together. Now we're going to rest this for a little while before we use it, so I'm going to wrap it up in plastic wrap. So this is a pretty good chunk. This is going to get you probably 2 to 3 pies. But before we roll that first pie out, I'm going to go ahead and throw it in the fridge for about half an hour to rest. All right, these are super tender. They're ready to come off. Now we've given these some time to cool down. So what we want to do is peel the skins away so we can access the flesh, which is what we're going to be processing into our puree. So I like to just let this go a minute or two until, you know, it's nice and smooth. This still has a few chunks to it, so we'll just kind of scrape the sides and let it go a little bit longer. All right, this is looking pretty good. I'm gonna let it cool down just a little bit more before we make our filling. All right, so here's about a third of that chunk that we put into the fridge. The rest of it I'm just gonna go ahead and freeze for the next time we make pie. So just working on our floured surface here. I'm gonna roll this out. Definitely want to keep your surface floured so there's no sticking. All right, so it's nice and even now. It's thin but not too thin and large enough to cover the pie pan. I'm gonna roll this up to transfer it over to the pan. Get a little grease down on the pie pan. And I want to lift the dough and press it down into the corners because it is going to contract a little bit and we don't want it to shrink up entirely. So we're going to feed it a little bit more than it needs. All right, now I'm going to trim off the excess and give myself a little bit of a border to work with. Now once I've got that excess hanging over, I'm going to fold it underneath just to create this crust here at the top. And that gives us this hearty crust at the top that we can then form however we like. Happy trees, happy pie dough. Now we are going to blind bake this pie shell here in a little bit, but it's going to bake best if we can give it about half an hour to chill down in the refrigerator first. All right, this thing's chilled down a bit, so what I want to do is get ready for the blind bake. What we're going to do is take a sheet of parchment paper, crumple it up, fill it with dried beans to weigh everything down, and then we can bake it until it's nice and golden in color. Now these beans are just dried beans. This is actually a bag of mixed dried beans. It's not important. Obviously, there's some pinto in there. Doesn't matter, just anything that'll hold this down and put a little weight on the bottom. 375 for around 30 minutes should be just about right. All right, so we've got just a tiny bit of color on the bottom and a little bit around the edges. This has been about 25, 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off now. Oh no, we lost a little bit of our crust. That's all right though. So down here, just a touch of color, and we've done what we came to do, which is start to set the bottom before we get the liquid in there. In addition to the blind baking, one thing that we can do to make sure that the bottom doesn't get soggy is brush a little bit of egg white on it when it's nice and hot straight out of the grill. This is gonna create a little barrier in between the liquid and the crust, and this will further ensure that we don't get any sogginess on the bottom. Our pie crust is ready to go. The pumpkin is now processed and pureed, so let's put together this pumpkin pie filling. We're gonna start off with 2 cups of the pumpkin puree. Next we have 1 cup of heavy cream, 1/2 cup of maple syrup, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And we're gonna use 3 eggs, which just to get this started, I'm gonna beat these lightly. And then we're on to our seasonings, starting with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1/4 teaspoon each of ground cloves, ground ginger, ground cardamom. And then we're gonna do about 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. All right, so I'm just gonna get this whisked up until everything's nicely incorporated. And that's all there is to it. This is ready to go into the pie shell. Now we let this set for just a little bit, and we're ready to put our filling in there. Now you want to turn the grill down to 325 degrees for this portion of the cook. For now, we're just going to let it ride. Come back in about an hour to check on it. All right, so here we are, an hour and 15 minutes in. You notice the crust is getting kind of brown, and in some spots, like right here, even a little dark. So I want to stop that process by putting a little foil over the outside. You'll also notice that right here, around the edges, it's getting set, but we still got that jiggle in the middle. All right, so I've just got a strip of foil here. I'm gonna go around the perimeter and just fold this over, trying not to touch the filling. To keep that air from moving across the crust, you can slow down the browning process. And this will allow the center to continue to bake and set up. We'll come back to check on this in another 30 minutes or so. What we're looking for is for that center to be jiggling but not liquid, and the internal temperature is gonna be about 175 degrees when it's done. This is right around 2 hours. If you check this out, it's got some jiggle, some movement, but it's not liquid. And if you insert the thermometer, it's just passing 175. And I know that at that temperature, when this cools down, it will be fully set. What you want to do when you get this thing off the grill is cool it down to room temperature and then transfer it to the refrigerator and chill completely. Now, cooling it down slowly like this helps prevent some of the cracking and weeping that you sometimes see with pumpkin pie. To finish things off, I like to treat the pumpkin pie with a little bit of powdered sugar. You get it on the edge here and it's going to soak into the pie filling itself, but you'll still have a really nice powdery crust. And maybe finish it off with some little pumpkin cookies here. You want to throw a little whipped cream on top, that's a great idea as well. I'm going to go ahead and get a taste. Texture is spot on. I mean, the pie filling is super creamy. The pie crust is flaky. And the flavors are just everything you imagine with the holidays. Perfect pumpkin pie spice. I'd love for you guys to give it a shot with the smoke roasted pumpkin at home and let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below. And hey, let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to thesauce.atbbq.com. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.